They're useless feeling. The tide is my only sand. I let the night decide when I'm cold.
Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Screen One interview. And today I am joined by another member of Those Damn Crows. This time it's the lead singer himself, Shane Greenhall. Good morning and welcome. How are you?
How are you, Matt? I'm good, thank you, bud.
I'm very good, thank you. And thank you for coming on and joining us on the interview today. So let's get straight into it. You've got your new album, God-Shaped Hole, coming out on April the 11th, which seems like a ridiculously long wait for all of us, but it's only a few months away now. So album all done, happy with it and ready to go?
Yes, I'm in the same boat, bud. It's way too far away in the future. This was supposed to be out February next year, and it just seems to have gone further and further and further away.
Further
So
back.
I'm just glad we've eventually got a date. The record label's worked it all out, and we finally got a date to tell people. But yes, it's gone extremely well. It's another sort of side to the Crows, where there's a mixture of songs on this. It feels more like a playlist than it does an album, that I've kind of described before. We're super happy with it. It's got everything, the usual bangers, the slow ballads, but yeah, just Crows through and through, sing along
Amazing.
choruses, and we're super chuffed with it, man.
Cool. So can you talk about a bit the inspiration about obviously the title of it, the God-Shaped Hole, and how it reflects across the whole record?
Well, we kind of had a song, a demo, kind of I think it's about a year and a half ago, that was called God Shaped Hole. And this idea of everyone feels like they're missing something, like there's a part of them missing. And a lot of people who I speak to, religion seems to be like this missing part where people, something just clicks and it's just like, oh, now I'm fulfilled, now I'm full. And I just almost feel like it's not a mockery of it at all, but I just feel like it's more important to focus on what you have got than what you haven't. And I found that whole thought process quite interesting. So that's what the kind of album is about, the things you haven't got, but what you did have. So through grief, through or just taking a bit of a side step and reevaluating a life, that it's not about what you haven't got. It's more important about what you have and being appreciative, and the gratitude vibe. And so that's all embedded, I think, in all the songs. So I think calling it God Shaped Hole, the boys loved the title straight away.
Mm.
And um, as it when the song was kind of as a demo, but then when it came to shortlisting these names for the album, that was top of the list again. The boys loved it. And then when I was penning the songs, it just kind of felt right. Um, I think it'll be more sort of understandable when the album's out and you can hear it in its entirety. But there's just these moments in what you've got, what you haven't got, and then the psyche behind what you're fixated on is probably how we can reprogram ourselves sometimes and just think it's not about what you haven't got. It's appreciating what you had. If you haven't got it no more, there's a reason for it, and that's okay. Do you know what I mean? You move on to the next stage.
Mm.
But this hole that people feel like they got until they meet someone, or there's a religion that fills it. I think that's I think that's the wrong way of thinking, but it's in our DNA. It's we always
Mm.
focus on what we haven't got, don't we?
Mm.
So I know as crows do, it's always about the next sort of step. It's like, well, we haven't done this, let's go and do that. Which can be really positive. But again, why it intrigues me is that if you focus on what you haven't got, you're not focusing on what you have, and that's quite poignant to me. I like that
Mm.
way of thinking, especially when you come to penning songs and stuff. There's a
Yeah,
lot you can
so
work
so
with.
yeah, so as you're saying, that there's a lot of emotional weight throughout the album, I presume. Um, so are there any particular tracks? Maybe this will go into the single you released yesterday still. But are there any tracks that are particularly difficult for you to write or record or put out there? Sort of, they're your songs, but you're now going to put them out there because, you know.
Interestingly, like, and ironically, the most open songs are the easiest ones
Mm.
like it still, for example, took no time at all. The Night Train took absolutely no time at all because it's straight from here. You just I've always said it, like music for me is like the cheapest form of counseling I've ever had in my entire life, because it's just, you don't have to pay anybody to get your feelings out, because it's almost like the subjective, you're not talking to yourself, you're writing it down. It's like you're telling somebody else, or
Mm.
just, and then it exists on this paper. And before you know it, I'd always talk about how my glass sometimes gets so full and then I can't think, I can't see straight, I can't. But when you write something down and then it's there on the page, it's left you, it's now on the page. And I think that's really therapeutic and cathartic and quite important, whether you're a songwriter or not. I think if majority of people did that, I think that would help a lot of people getting their thoughts down, because it's a tough old place, the mind and the heart. So for me, the more honest I am, the easier the song is to write. What's
Mm.
difficult is what comes after, and that's
Yeah.
performing.
Yeah.
Because now you've got to perform that in front of people, and not only are you performing in front of people and you've told everybody what the song is about, there are people out in that audience that I've had thousands of messages since yesterday
Mm.
saying, I've been there. I was like that 2 weeks ago. I was like that 2 years ago. I'm like that now. So now you've got the added pressure of
Yeah.
performing this right for those other people that are waiting for this song. That's the hardest side of songwriting. Now, the fortunate thing is it has connected. So that's a wonderful positive thing. To perform it is quite daunting. And we're playing obviously the biggest headline show we've done in our capital city in Cardiff,
Yeah.
with all those fan base that have been with us from day one, 10 years of the Crows. We haven't played a single UK show this year. So they're
Mm.
all coming for that one Crow hit in Cardiff, and I'm going to be performing still. So that is terrifying, dude.
Yeah.
Not necessarily because of what the song is about.
Yeah.
It's because of the added pressure that everyone's heard it. Now they want to experience it, and they want to experience the feeling with everyone else, because I feel like this. I've felt like it, or I feel like it, or I've been there.
Mm.
That is the toughest thing you'll ever do as a songwriter,
Yeah.
for
I,
me.
I was going to say, yeah, we have noticed there hasn't been enough crow shows around the UK this year. Just saying,
Mm,
we noticed there should be more.
yes.
I know it's hard on you guys because you're here, there, and everywhere at the moment, but we would like more. Just saying, for speaking for the fan base. So yeah, so is the weight of expectation, does it weigh heavy on all of you, or is it more your shoulders because it's mostly partly your songwriting, and your song that you're putting out there, is the weight of expectation hard on all of you?
I think it is to a certain degree, and what I found with still more than anything is that obviously I've done the video myself, kind of recorded it myself, and now
Mm.
I'm going to perform it myself. My boys, it's made me realize just how much of a crutch they are. Because
Mm.
if, say, for example, Blink of an Eye is another sort of tough and poignant song. And
Mm.
when we kind of restructured it so it became the piano, the first opening sort of verse chorus, when I'm playing on piano, I'd feel that tension. I'd feel like I'm isolated here. I'm vulnerable, just like the song itself. But
Mm.
then when the band kick in, I am completely relaxed, because there's my boys. They're
Yeah.
my, so it's not just a sonic thing that my band has kicked in. The support from my boys is just like overwhelming, and I can accomplish anything. This one, it was the same when I was playing Neverwin on piano. It was just me. Oof,
Mm.
you feel very vulnerable. And that pressure can get, and the problem with me is if you overthink, which I do constantly, you're gone. You
Yeah.
almost try and keep the emotion at bay.
Yeah.
And what's so daunting about still is that this is the first time I'll be performing it to anybody. So not even
Wow.
like a group of people in my living room. And I've decided to do it to 7,000 people in Wales on our biggest show. So I don't know how that's going to go, to be honest. It could be wonderful. It could be absolutely tragic. So
I
either
think it'll
way,
be I think it'll be pretty amazing, I reckon. I think once you're through that, then everything else is, it's bread and
yeah,
butter, really, isn't it? So
I hope so. But, as everyone says, like, the first time is always the most difficult, and it's, you know, I'll never forget it. And it's almost like it's inevitable, really, like to be able to play it in the capital where we're from, you know, on our first headline show with all those people have been with us for 10 years
Yeah.
now. That's it's special.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. So on this new album, has the production ramped up? On each album, it seems, you know, the production gets that much more. Is there another 10-20% on this one?
Um, yeah, I'd like to think so, but it's not overly produced. And I think
Mm,
there's you know, that's credit to production, our producer and Dan Weller, where it's what's needed for the song is always
mm,
paramount. And so there's some big sort of heavy tunes where production's needed and it works so well. And then there's more stripped back songs where it's not needed. You know, subtlety is key. And to get over the lyric content, um, the signature sort of playing of the crows, you know,
mm.
sometimes that's enough. And you got to be careful with that balance, that yin and yang of how much you put in production wise. So I think we've nailed that on this album, to be fair to everybody involved. And even to the point where it came to the mixing and what you hear, you know, because it's already well you put it into production with the
Yeah,
producer. If the mixer hasn't got on board what the finished idea should be, that mixer can go away and elevate that production and make that sound really high in the mix. So luckily, all the team, you know, Clip Murphy mixed it, the guys at Sterling mastered it, Dan Weller produced it. It's all very well the crew's going in and recording it, but those other people have got to
yeah,
jump on the same sort of trail of thought to get to the end goal. And I think, thankfully, touch wood, everyone will think the same. It's subtlety is key, and
yeah.
yeah, I think it's worked out beautifully.
Yeah. So coming back to Still, there's orchestrations in there. So you say it's just you on the keys. There is, oh sorry, the guitar. There is some orchestrations in there.
Yeah.
So is that something you've considered doing, sort of big style, getting an orchestra in, and you know, getting the full thing? Because there are some rock bands that do it, famously Alter Bridge and Metallica, and it sounds incredible. Is that something that you'd like to do, or are planning to do, or are you just going to
Uh,
get the boys to learn how to play strings and stuff like
that is not an option.
that?
But they could just about play six strings. No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
On a guitar. No, it is something we have talked about for years, dude.
Mm,
Those bands that have done that thing so well, Metallica for one, and you know, you always see like those amazing sort of venues like Royal Albert Hall, and then they got
mm,
this orchestra in, and obviously I done the Planet Rock thing with the Philharmonic Orchestra a couple of years back
mm.
in oh, what's the name of the venue in London? Palladium, sorry.
Yeah.
I would forget that. And just being on stage and feeling the impact of the orchestra behind you.
Mm,
I've got that bug now, and I've had that thought for so long. Ronnie has too. That a lot of our songs, regardless if it's a ballad or like still or where we've
mm.
used um, real sort of players on the track, um, it's always been a thought. I think there's a lot of songs that we can use in the Crow library that would really strings would really emphasize and really bring out the songs. Um, so yes, we will be doing that at some point.
Yeah.
We've talked about it for years.
Yeah. No, that'd be incredible
Mm.
for sure. For sure. So, the image of the coaster, Southern Down, is it?
Yes.
Yes, it's Southern Down. Is quite vivid in your explanation of Still. So, do natural landscapes inspire you, your music and other, or is it just that specific time and place of the song?
For that song, yes, that landscape, that idea, and there's a family sort of history line to that place in particular. My family, my dad, his brothers and sisters were all from that neck of the woods, and they lived literally on Southern Down. So, and then, you know, my dad passed away 12, 13 years ago now, and in Southerndown, they've got Dunraven Castle where the ruins are still are. My dad's bench, there's his name is on it, and that's where we kind of go to. So it's always been an extremely sentimental place for us as a family. But to be honest with you, any coastline, if I can get to the coast, if I can
Mm.
see the ocean, if I can see sand, if I can see cliffs, anything like that, for some reason, just puts me in a place of, I think it's just because you feel so insignificant. You just feel so small. Like the world its nature is powerful. You see the ocean, it could just rip you apart. It's, you're on the edge of life because you're, okay, you're on the coastline, but you can't see the other coast. So it's like this, it just makes me feel like if ego dictates, it never does with me. I'm not that type of person, but if ego did dictate, what a place and surroundings to just bring you back down as if to say you are nothing. And I constantly say that to myself, not a negative way, but I think that's important because you can have some sort of level of success and you can get away from yourself. And I think bringing that back down that's what it does. It brings me back down to earth and makes you realize that we're more lucky and fortunate as opposed to this I'm successful or you have this egotistical look. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just levels me in psychologically, mindfully, and I think that's important.
'Cause I don't even know, my moral compass shows nowhere to go. 'Cause all my life has led me here. I swear that no one will know if I disappear. 'Cause I don't mind if I stay still right here.
So finally on Still, you say you don't reflect on it anymore with negativity anymore, which is actually quite a powerful perspective considering, the strength of the song. So how has your relationship with the actual song changed since you first wrote it? Because obviously it was written in a particular time and space and you had a set of emotion and feeling. And what you've said now, how do you find it now?
I find it I love the fact that people are talking about it. Like I said,
Mm,
I've had thousands of people message and saying they've been there, they are there, they're going through something similar, or they have gone through something similar. It's great to talk about it, but because I've had so many years has passed
mm,
since I was in that position, there's no negativity. I don't think anything bad of it. The only thing that's kind of impacts me now is that other people are reading it and thinking bad or thinking
mm,
I'm in that place or thinking like my family, for example. I never told anybody this before it came out yesterday. I
mm,
hadn't spoke to any of my family about it. Like no one knew about it. So
yeah,
now they're reading it now. But when I was thinking of it
yeah,
before the band. So I've had all that time to process that. And now these people that I love are hearing that now. So that's hard. And that's
mm,
what, like I said in the quote, it hurts now for different reasons. And that's
mm,
the hurt now, is that people are now hearing that from me.
mm,
And now I've got to explain, like, no, that's fine. That's all that's done now. So
yeah,
um I'm just glad that um it's come out in a way where people are talking about it. And I'm not one but to sit there and preach. I'm not that type of person. I've As a songwriter, you can get in your own world and you can just put down on paper what you think and feel. And naively, you can just put something out there and just think, all right, I've just done it because it's real and honest. And then you realize the impact it has on others. And then you think, oh crap, I never really thought about that. Or how it is for other people. So that's the difficult part of it now. And I'm
mm,
going to be performing that, knowing that. That's the difference. Whereas
yeah,
if I was feeling it now, I'd probably get welled up
yeah,
emotionally playing it, still thinking that way. But I'm not thinking about that. Now I get upset because other people are thinking that.
yeah.
It's crazy. But at least people are talking about it, and that's got to be a good thing, I think.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So now moving on to your, as you've said earlier, your biggest show at Cardiff's Ultima Arena this weekend.
Yeah.
Um, how are you feeling about that moment? and how's it going to compare to some of the live shows that have been before? I mean, you've done some
Well,
pretty amazing places already, but this is the big one for you guys, isn't it?
yeah, just again, because the emotional, sentimental value of it, like all those people turning up to the capital, and but we've thrown everything at it, dude. Everything and the kitchen sink. So like it's cost us an absolute fortune. We will make no money from this show.
Yeah.
We're already in debt and we haven't done the show, so we haven't got paid yet. So it's like we've literally thrown everything at, because it is such a big venue. It's a headline show. The
Mm.
expectation is going to be big. People haven't seen us throughout the year in the UK. We wanted to make it look as big as possible. So production has gone through the roof. It's the biggest production we've ever put together. And that obviously comes with a price tag, so it's cost us a fortune. But this show has never been about, I mean, all Crow shows have never been about the money.
Yeah.
If it was, we wouldn't put anything into the show's production wise. We would have kept all the money and so be it. But I just feel it's needed. I think the Crow family, the fan base, deserves something a bit special. So hopefully visually, I think that'll be the biggest difference. Visually, it'll look another level. But if you take all that away, you'll still get the Crow show that you would get in a 600, 800 cap
Mm.
venue. So it's about upscaling to the size of the room, which is ridiculous from a band's perspective, but I guess visually that's what people expect or want to see. So there's lots of little things that are different you wouldn't see in a normal sort of, I don't know, 800 to 1200 cap venue that you'll see on this Crow show.
Mm.
Cardiff. It's special. It's big.
Yeah. So are you insured for climbing up the rigging in the middle of the songs? Or are they
Um,
already told you you're not allowed to do that and you're just going to ignore them anyway?
they're writing up the contract as we speak. So
You do have a tendency to go on a bit of a walkabout and climb on things.
I do, but I got caught out in Swansea Arena last year. It took so long to get up to the top balcony. I had to take a lift and everything. So I don't know. I can't remember because we played the arena a couple of times with like support. I think we supported Thunder there.
Mm.
So I'll just have to do a quick scouting and debrief and just see how long it actually takes me to get to a balcony. Because if it takes
Yeah.
that long, bro, is no point. But unless I can find a shortcut,
Just add it to
um,
the production budget, put an extra balcony in somewhere that you can climb on.
there we
I mean,
go.
spend
Yeah,
that much now.
yeah, exactly. Well, to be honest, I think we're over budget there. So
Okay, so you've also announced, excitingly, a string of underplay shows for next March. So, which is quite exciting, including for us down here in the south, the 100 Club, which is an
yes.
amazing venue. So what are fans going to expect from these smaller shows that might be different from the arena experience that you're now doing?
Well, this is it, bro. It's like everyone. I'm so in touch with what everybody sort of writes on social media, our fan base, the fan page, and you always hear them saying, "Oh, the Crows are doing arenas now, so that's where we're going to be seeing them." And it was always the plan to just stay in touch with that. The reason why we have grown through these venues and the fan base jumping on board is because we played smaller venues. It's because we enjoyed playing those venues. The fan base grew. So the fact that we're doing a big arena, and we've played arenas in Europe recently, and they've been huge, like astronomical amount of people, averaging like 56,000 people at a venue. To do our own smaller headline show on an arena and then do a smaller one again, I just think that's healthy for everybody involved to come and watch us. But then you ain't going to please everyone, because then people are like, well, I want to see you in the bigger shows.
Mm.
Or you're playing smaller venues in an area I can't get to. You're not playing Newcastle, you're not playing Wales, you're not playing. But then I'm thinking, calm down, people, because there's another plan coming later on in the year. You know, it's just
Yeah,
everyone just sees what is in front of them sometimes.
yeah.
And it's easy for us because we know the schedule, we know what's coming. So I get people's frustrations, but just everyone like chill. That's not it, you know? So it's funny. You can't win. You do smaller shows because majority of people want to see you in those venues. Then you do an arena show and they jump on board with that too. But there's always someone complaining about something. You're not playing in my living room, or you're not playing a venue closer to me. But this isn't finished. Like, there's a long old year coming, and into next year. So have faith in us Crows. We're trying to get to small venues, big venues, large venues. We're trying to do it all. We want to make the Crow family as happy as possible, and keep ourselves in this attitude, this mindset of, no matter what the venue, no matter
Yeah.
where we are in the country, we're going to give you everything we got. And that's always been our mantra, really. It doesn't matter the size of the venue. A Crow show is a Crow show, whether
Yeah.
it's to a couple of hundred people, a couple of thousand people, and more.
I suppose that's, I suppose in a good way, it's a positive thing that people are complaining, because it shows how big the following is becoming for the Crows now. So, which kind of leads me to the next thing of, how do you feel about your connection with your fans over the years? There been any standout interactions, or stuff like that?
Oh, it's pretty incredible. And more so, I've noticed it more so this year than any other year, because we haven't played UK shows.
Hmm.
So going abroad, into Europe, and playing to thousands of people, and you don't recognize those faces. They're all
Yeah.
brand new, which is amazing, because the the Crow wings are spreading.
Yeah.
Brand new people, amazing,
Yeah.
as a band growing. But I know when it comes to Cardiff, and I look out into that audience, I'm going to be seeing faces I've seen in the 10 years the Crows have been together. That fills me with pride, like
Mm.
unbelievable pride, that they're there, they've bought to pay a ticket, they're there supporting, but it's the familiarity of that support that really resonates with me, because
Mm.
that's the whole reason why you create music, is you connect with people. And it's the reason why they're called the Crow family.
Yeah.
I feel like we'll be home. So every nervous feeling I'll feel in Cardiff, and almost like the pressure's more, because the expectation is higher in the
Yeah.
people that have seen you. The people that haven't seen you before, there's no expectation. There's just, they just stand there with their thing and prove yourself, and then we'll
Yeah.
do our thing, and then they lose their minds. But these guys that have been there, you've got to show them something different.
Yeah.
They're wanting, but they want you to win. That's the difference.
Yeah.
And for me, that is everything. That means the Crows have done something positive, and that's just the connecting.
Mm.
That's ultimately it. Any band will just want to connect with their audience.
Yeah.
And I feel we're in this incredibly lucky position through hard work, no doubt. We're
Yeah.
incredibly lucky position where those faces are still there 10 years on,
Mm.
and they are wanting you to win. That is
Mm.
an unbelievable feeling.
Yeah, no, amazing. So, and also attached to what you were just saying, so with so much touring both this year and on the horizon for next year, how do you avoid, how do you maintain even your mental well-being, all of you, and avoid burnout all the time? Because, it can be quite, oh, we're in Germany tomorrow, we're in, here, there, and everywhere, and then I take it Cardiff is your last show of the year.
Yes, Cardiff's the
Yeah.
last show, yeah.
So the beginning, but then like you say, you kick off again in the new year. How do you avoid all that sort of burnout and stuff?
It's it can be difficult. Um it's different for all the boys in the band. There's some really outgoing, like, I wish I wasn't a singer on times when we're on tour, because 9 times out of 10, I have got to prepare. I've got to, so I do my singing, I can't have a drink. I've got to go to bed early, get my rest, ready to just go and sing, because it's not a physical thing, really. It's just making sure this is rested. So I've got to be quite boring, and I'm not a boring person. I want to be out, you know, enjoying it. So whereas Ronnie, Lloyd, Dave, they'll go out and they'll have their glass of wine, or they'll go out on the Raz, and they'll go to all these different places. Myself and Shiner, we kind of, don't do that. And that's just to make sure the next show is good. But that sometimes you get cabin fever, and that's not good for you mentally. So you do have to, go for a walk, or you do have to go and visit whatever country you're in. But you can't completely enjoy it for me, as in like a normal human being, but because I'm a singer. So, and I've just learned that through the past, man. But I've enjoyed it, or I've jumped on the bandwagon with the boys, and then throat's gone, or I can't perform, and then all I'll do is deteriorate through the tour. So you've got to keep it as pristine as possible, because you do take a percentage, I think, on every performance as a singer. If you've got a long tour, it will gradually just a gentle slope. But if you do those things like the other boys are doing, it's a massive, tilt, and then all that tour is ruined. You just get
Yeah.
worse. So I've learned that through the years. Just protect yourself, and then
Yeah.
mentally it can be quite torturous. Cabin fever, and you miss your family, and I'm terrible for that, man. I miss my family. I miss that coastline I talk about. Wales is my home, and without that sometimes. So if we go to these venues, we went to Germany, and there was a coastline. Oh man, I felt 10 foot tall just doing that show, and then I felt regenerated. It's the craziest thing for me. I need certain things in a tour, and it's really simple things.
Yeah.
Nothing too extravagant. There's nothing on the rider like Elton John. I need my gladiolis or whatever. It's just, nature is everything to me. I was brought up in this coastline, and anything that reminds me of home helps me unbelievably.
Yeah.
And my son has got this little teddy for me that I take on tour, and it's a squashy sort of world, a globe with a little arms and legs and a face on it. And he's like, anywhere you go, Dad, this is me. And so just again, that it's him accepting that, him understanding that makes me feel better going away. It's all those little things that make you
Yeah.
take to a different country in a different environment. That's the poignant thing. You've got to hold on to that thing like it's your life jacket, because it is for me. And and then the tour will be okay.
Yeah.
But it is a tough place to be, man. Getting that balance right. Luckily now we're experienced touring wise, and it becomes a lot easier knowing that it was hard. It's hard. It's still hard. It's still hard.
Yeah, amazing. So, with the Cardiff show this weekend, and with the shows coming up, the set lists in place, I presume you sticking to your set list. So, are there any songs that you have on the set list that you look at, and over the years you've kind of gone, I'd like to tweak it or change it, or remold it, I suppose.
Yes, 100%. I mean, we've done that with a few of our songs. I mentioned earlier, Blink of an Eye.
Yeah.
That's kind of never been recorded on an album with the piano version, but when it came to performing it live, the piano came on board, and so that's when we've changed. There's little parts, little jam parts in Send the Reaper you don't get on record. Rock and Rolling Dead, with the crowd participation, is longer, it's bigger. The crowd play a huge part in it. What you can do live. Sometimes it happens accidentally. Sometimes it's a conscious decision to play a song differently. I take great pride in doing that, because it keeps us interested. It keeps the song interesting for us to perform. But then people are hearing a different form of that song that have been there for 10 years, which is, again, really important, keeping it updated. I love doing that. We'll continue to do that. And I think this set list is like an hour and 40 minutes long. So to play all those songs off the 4 albums we've done is amazing. And the set list is only going to get harder to pick, I guess, because obviously we got to now put in the new songs. And everyone loves the old songs. So it becomes really difficult to pick a set list, but you are governed by how much time you get on stage. So you got to make those calls. So sometimes you have no choice not to play stuff. But there's songs like Blink of an Eye, like Rock and Rolling Dead. I'd love to leave that off the set list for a good number of years. But it's the one that people lose their, can we swear on you? It's the people that lose their shit. So it's like, and this time we're playing that song, and there's a poignant part in that song for this version we're doing in Cardiff.
Right.
So that will make things a bit different. So yeah, we're constantly looking at we can tweak those songs to make it more interesting from a live perspective, that you won't get that on record. We are fully aware of that, and we enjoy doing that.
Yeah. So last couple of questions. So with the big show this weekend, and going for, are there any surprises in there that you can give us hints about? Obviously, it won't be a surprise if you tell me what it is, but are there any, have you got some stuff hidden in there that's gonna, take people out?
Yeah, I think so. That's the plan. I mean, it's difficult. I don't want to say too much,
Yeah, no,
but
don't spoil anything because I don't want to
from
ruin it.
from a production side of things, there are things that are brought in specifically for the set list,
Yeah,
that you won't get on perhaps the other Crow shows,
yeah,
in March, I think the tour is. There are things that has never been done before with the Crows. There are certain parts in the playing of those songs that has never been done before.
mm,
So yes, there's plenty of new, even if you've been to see us over the 10 years we've been together, that you haven't seen before.
yeah,
So yeah, it's interesting because there's a lot of people I know that are coming that have never seen the Crows, which again, I
yeah,
find that's so amazing. Like,
yeah,
there are people have messaged me from, like, people from school, like, just saying, I'm coming to the Cardiff show, or people I've worked with before the band did what it did. I'm coming to see you. I haven't been to a show in like 15 years. I'm bringing my daughter. I was like, that is so cool. So
yeah,
those people are seeing us for the first time. They'll think that's kind of standard, but everyone has been there for 10 years are thinking, oh, that's new. So
yeah,
again, man, it's always thinking about how it looks,
yeah,
how it sounds, and keeping everybody fresh. The Crow Show
yeah,
fresh is important, and we've worked hard on that for this one.
yeah. So has it been recorded at the weekend, is it? Are you doing a live album or is that a surprise I'm not allowed to talk about?
I don't know.
That's a yes.
The
Because it'd
best
be
thing to
worth
do
it.
is just act naive sometimes. But when people think I'm not saying it for a reason, sometimes I just don't know. Like,
Right.
sometimes the best thing to say to Shane Greenhall is just turn up and do what
Yeah,
you
just do
do.
your thing.
Just do your thing and let everybody else sort out everything else out. That's kind of like a common thing in our band. It's like, oh, we did tell you, Shane. I was like, oh, did you? It's like sometimes my brain doesn't need to know that information because I'm focusing on
Yeah, you've got other
the
things to
other. Yeah,
concentrate on, like
yeah,
singing. Yeah.
yeah.
And the words, remembering them all.
Ah, mate, that's my biggest downfall. Honestly, I'm terrible. And the more albums we're doing, it's not. It doesn't come natural, man. And considering I've penned them, they should be in there,
Yeah,
but they don't. They just fly away. And the more you think about it, what's that next line come in? It's the
yeah.
worst. I do
You
it
obviously
all the
need
time.
you obviously need a teleprompter or something like
Yeah.
Aerosmith and people like that have these days.
Exactly. We went on tour with the Hollywood Vampires, and I saw Alice Cooper doing it, and I was just like, "That's what I need. I need
Yeah,
one of them." But and it's funny because sometimes when I sing the wrong words, and those people that have been there are all the Crow shows through the past, and they look at me going, just shaking their heads. They just know, like,
yeah.
they know I've done it wrong. So it's
That's when
kind
they
of
sing the
funny.
words for you. Right, so finally, how would you describe God-shaped hole in just 3 words? And you can't say God-shaped hole, obviously.
In just 3 words.
Just 3 words.
Another Crow chapter.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Well,
Um,
anyway, that's all we have time for. So thank you very much, Shane, for your time.
Thank you, Matt.
Everybody get tickets to a Crow show as soon as you can get them because A, they sell out very quickly, and B, it's an amazing experience. I've seen the Crows live and I can fully concur they are amazing shows. And also make sure you get the previous albums, but make sure you get your pre-order in for God Shaped Hole when it comes out in April, which as we said before, it's too far to wait, but hey, take the tender mercies while we can. So this has been the Screen One interview. Thank you everybody for watching. All the details about the Crows will be down the bottom, all their social links and all that kind of stuff. And we will see you again soon on the Screen One interview. Thank you and goodbye.
Nothing stops us falling apart. Kaleidoscope, the shattered pieces of our heart.